Swamiji, how can yoga and meditation help in recovering from drugs and alcoholism?
When you say drugs and alcoholism, Lynn, you're basically talking about addictions.
Yes, thank you.
I always say that my desire to experience intoxication, my desire to have a drink or to smoke a drug is an external manifestation of my heart's desire to experience God. But before we go into exploring this, first let us understand what an addiction is and why we get addicted. Drugs, alcohol are substances when introduced into the body. They have one nature. They are poisonous to the body. When they are introduced to the body reacts to them. When the brain senses that there is alcohol in the bloodstream, it sends in endorphins from the back brain, which releases little things that keep eating up the poisons and flushing them out of the system, because those poisons will otherwise destroy the organism. It will destroy the human being. In the process of releasing those endorphins from the back brain, there's a cooling effect that takes place on the back brain. That is what we call the high. So when you are saying a person is intoxicated, actually what you're trying to say is that person is euphoric. The intoxicants make you euphoric. They put you in a state of euphoria. You do not want to intoxicate yourself. You intoxicate yourself so that you can experience the euphoria. Now, having said that, let us go back into yoga. And when we look at the 4 books that were written by Maharishi Patanjali, in the 4th book, he explains how you can have a spiritual experience. And one of the words he uses is aushadha in Sanskrit. If you go to India today, into a pharmacy and look for medicines, you will have the person who asks for medicine calling it aushadha. It has dropped down to the level of medicine or medication. The original meaning of aushadha was representing herbs. And in the earlier days, what herbs were they talking about? They were talking about cannabis, they were talking about ganja. These were the herbs that could give you a spiritual experience. We have in South America people using the peyote plant. These are methods that are used to put you in an altered state of consciousness. The altered state of consciousness is like a spiritual experience. It is not the spiritual experience, but it is the closest that you can get to a spiritual experience. Unfortunately, it does not take you all the way and slams you back. And that is why the only program that really helps an addict or an alcoholic is a spiritual program. Like the 12-step program, where you practice spiritual principles and you replace the addictive substance with a true spiritual program to get your euphoria. Aushadha was mentioned by Patanjali as one of the means. Yoga, it replaces that. If you don't have aushadha, there are other ways that you can use to access the body and experience this intoxication. When I received my initiation from my Swami in the Himalayas, I was stoned for days. When I come out of meditation, many of my students tell me, I look like I've had a drug. Because what I do when I go into meditation, with the energy that I've received, and with the same energy that I give people when they come to me, is I go into an altered state of consciousness, which takes me closer to the parallel dimension of existence, in which the supernatural realm, in which the existence of the ultimate master is. So, addiction is an unnatural means of trying to attain a spiritual experience. Understanding the science of addiction, it becomes important for us to use the right method. And that is why even in the 12-step program, they talk about using prayer and meditation. Because yoga, prayer, meditation are the perfect means of having a spiritual experience. And a true spiritual experience will generate a high. The American Indians used to call alcohol bottled spirits. And why do you think they did that? Because they knew that the experience they got from what they had from the bottle was spiritual. They called it bottled spirits. So, yoga and meditation are definitely one of the best means of having a spiritual experience. The next time you sit in meditation, when you learn to raise the energy, observe from within. And as you learn to do yoga exercises which will cleanse the vessel, and then sit in meditation, what you will do is you will actually be accessing toxins that are already present in your body. Generations of toxins take place constantly in the body. You do not need to introduce external toxins like alcohol and cannabis and mushrooms and whatever to experience a high. When you do yoga in the right way, you access toxins which are already in your body and flush them out. And as a result of doing that, you get your high. So you have a double whammy. You're cleansing your body and you're getting your high for free. And that is the perfect way to be. So yes, yoga, as the yoga exercises are good for purifying the body, and meditation enhances and raises your spiritual levels. When I was tested with biofeedback 15 days ago, they found my spiritual levels very high because they were looking at me at the physical level that I was. That was the physical examination. And my body is changing because I use yoga to cleanse my vessel. I use meditation to keep changing the contacts. I don't want the same cup of coffee in my cup every day. Can you imagine what it would be if I filled a cup full of coffee, drank half of it today and drank the other half tomorrow morning? It would throw me off. I need fresh coffee. Fresh coffee to drink every morning. I don't drink coffee, but it's an analogy. The same way, I need fresh influx of the Spirit within me. I need fresh inpouring of the Spirit within me. And that will happen if I keep cleansing my vessel and I keep receiving and renewing myself and rejuvenating myself with the Spirit. And to do that, the way I do it is I use yoga and meditation. Thank you for your wonderful question, Lynn.
Thank you, Swamiji.